Joshua, oh Durham region, how I've missed you. I mean, not really, because I live here, but I haven't been posting as frequently as I used to on this channel, and I don't know. I feel like I've just lost interest only because I'm talking about the same thing over and over again. Like, you would be annoyed, you wouldn't be enthused to just talk about the same stuff over and over again. Every time I go to the Durham News website, it's the same type of crime. It's senseless. It's kids with weapons. It's voyeurism, so creeps. And I'm just like, man, is this where I live? Is this what I'm surrounded with? I'm not trying to say that Durham is the worst place. I mean, Toronto, statistically, when it comes to crime, is much worse. So, I'm not trying to say we're the worst, but I'm just like, man, I did think we were better than this. Now, granted, I've only been here like 5 years, so I'm sure like everywhere there was a heyday when it was just amazing. But I'm just like, I can't believe this is what I'm surrounded by. And I have a kid. I have a daughter. So if I look at the statistical data, it's only going to get worse. So another thing is I'm on social media quite a bit. And I see a lot of people posting things about, like Tim Hortons, Walmart, Subway, Pizza, like all these, local places that we all frequent. And they're just basically pointing out that it's mostly Indian people that work there now. And I'm just like, and so? Like, first of all, who are you mad at? Are you... Like, I'm confused, like, who and why you're mad about that. Because it seems like you're blaming the immigrants, the Indian people, for working there. Remember, they applied for a job just like you would, right? And they got the job. Like, so are you mad at them for applying for, or are you mad at the people that is hiring them? Or like, I'm confused about that part. And again, why does that even bother you? You're just in there for a service or for food. You don't live there. It's not your home. You're getting what you need and then you're leaving. Like, as long as they're doing the job efficiently, then what's the problem? And I think that would go for any race, at any place of business. I don't care what you look like. As long as you could do the job, like, shouldn't that be the only thing that matters? And then the other side of that is, first, you're angry that they're air quote committing all these crimes. Like, that's the only reason why they're here. Like, you're angry about that. But then you're also angry when they're employed. Like, can these people win? And again, this is all coming from a place of some moral high ground that I just don't think should exist. Like, nobody's perfect. No group of people, no race is all perfect. There's bad apples in every race. No country is perfect. The hypocrisy. It's not like we didn't take this land from the indigenous people. It's not like that didn't happen, right? It's things like this that makes me not really want to post, because it just, I don't know what we're doing. And I kind of want to leave and I don't. My daughter loves it here and I do too. Like, Durham definitely has grown on me. I didn't think it would. I'm originally from Toronto. But now living here as a person with a family, I'm also closer to family. I have to say I do like Durham, but I will leave this bitch if I have to. 110%. Obviously, I wouldn't be the first. Everybody else is leaving. But I would leave not for the reasons that I think some of you are leaving. You guys think you can escape immigration. And maybe you can. Maybe there's some town in Ontario that I am not aware of and there is no immigrants. And everybody in that town looks like you. Well, then if that's what you want, that's good for you. I don't want that. I love to be submerged in other people's culture, right? Like that was one of the really great things about Toronto, right? You could literally see the entire globe just by riding the subway. It was beautiful. Some people enjoy that and some people don't. And the people that don't, I guess you're entitled to feel that way, but I think you should at least be able to articulate why you feel that way. You shouldn't just be posting random things, saying little one-liners, regurgitating punchlines you heard from somebody else. Like, think for yourself and like really think. Like, I'm using that word for a reason. Think, right? Think. How is a group of immigrants really impacting your day-to-day life? And then if you could come up with a logical argument, well then fine, that's you. But I can't. I don't understand it. But, I'll continue or at least do my best to pod because I love podding. I love talking, and I thank everybody who has supported the channel so far. I thank everyone who has subscribed, liked, or commented. I'm getting emails from you guys. I'm getting emails from private investigation companies. Like it's weird, but I'm not cooperating with those people. I have to go on record by saying that. I mean, do your job, But thank you to everyone who has been supporting the channel, and I will do my best to post more. I mean, we are coming into a new year, and I hate to be that guy. It's like, it's a new year, my resolution. I am not that person. But, maybe I will get into this a little bit more consistently. See how it goes. All right. A man being sought by Toronto police for allegedly twice peering into windows during early morning hours is also wanted by investigators in Durham, York, and Barrie. This guy is taking his show on the road. A trespass at night investigation began November 10th after officers responded to a call in the area of Henry and Baldwin Streets just before 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Like, people are getting home from school. Some people get home from work early. This guy is brazen. Like, I would assume he would just wait for night, but no. According to the Toronto police, a suspect visited the victim's address in the early morning hours on 2 separate occasions and was seen peering into victims' windows and loitering on their property. Police say the suspect is not known to the victim. The suspect has been identified as George Braid. He's 52 years old and he's from Toronto, and he's wanted for trespassing at night. Toronto police say Braid is also wanted on several outstanding warrants. Again, this guy is an opportunist. He is wanted for failure to comply by Durham police. Voyeurism, obviously, that's his specialty. Trespassing at night, I'm sure he could teach a class. And failed to comply with probation by Barrie police. Braid also has several outstanding warrants with Toronto police. I mean, this guy's rookie card is definitely going to be worth something, including harassing by watching and besetting, observe/record person, expecting privacy, and breach of probation. So again, this guy's got a video camera or possibly a camera phone, and he's videotaping people while they're in the privacy of their own home. I typically don't give a description of what, these offenders look like, because, if I have a photo, I'm going to post a photo. But in this case, we're in for a treat because I have the photo and I'm going to share with you his description because he's a sick man that needs to be removed from these streets. So he's 5 foot, 11 inches tall, 181 pounds, medium build, short gray hair, blue eyes, and is clean shaven. Yeah, so let's find this guy because, look, we all have urges Like, why don't you just get a prostitute? Like, hire someone. I mean, all you're doing is watching someone anyways. So for these ladies out there who are willing to do a lot more for money, you don't think they'll take your money just so you can watch them, air quote, legally? Like he didn't have to go this route. And I'm sure somebody knows him or at least knew who he was, because if you're a halfway decent person, if you know what he's doing, you're going to automatically disassociate yourself from that person. There's no way we could be friends now. I can't be seen with you anywhere. You're a degenerate. Listeners of this podcast, I try to be as honest with you as possible, especially when I'm talking about myself. I mean, who knows me better than me? And, my life hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. I've had some cloudy days. It hasn't been perfect. But I don't think I have ever gotten to a level of despair where I threaten someone's life for a pack of cigarettes. I haven't gotten there yet. I mean, a man in the care of a Whitby mental health hospital has been charged after he allegedly pointed a gun at a man and took a pack of cigarettes. So there's some mental health there. So that should be taken into consideration, I guess. But Durham police say the suspect and the victim actually knew each other. I feel like that makes sense. They were near a home in the area of Byron Street South and Victoria Street East in Whitby. This was on November 14th at around 7:30 p.m. Now, at the time, police say the suspect asked the victim for a cigarette, just one, without being provoked, pointed a gun at the victim's chest and threatened to kill him. Fearing for his safety, the victim handed over the entire pack of cigarettes. Yeah, that seems like the logical thing to do. If you're going to point a weapon at my chest over a pack of cigarettes, I'm probably just going to give it to you. So during the investigation, police say the suspect was determined to be in the custodial care of Ontario Shores Centre for Mental Health Sciences. Investigators also located a gun, which police say the suspect hid on the Ontario Shores property. That's wild. So once recovered, the weapon was determined to be a replica. So that's good. But even still, like, how does somebody sneak a gun, whether it's fake or not? Obviously, it was real enough for this other guy to think that he was about to die, right? So how does that even happen? Like, what kind of security do they have at this hospital? But I digress. So on December 6th, the suspect was arrested at Ontario Shores on a judge's order. A 35-year-old man has been charged with utter threats to cause death or bodily harm, point firearm, disobey lawful court order, and 2 counts of possesses firearm while prohibited. Look, I get the whole mental health thing. I really do. If we are going to lean into that, I still point the blame at the hospital. So he should have never been able to leave the hospital in the first place. And even before that, he should have never been able to bring the gun in. But if he did somehow manage to sneak the gun into the hospital, like, are they not tossing the rooms? Like, has TV been lying to me? Like, they make it seem like these rooms get tossed all the time. So I feel like he should have never been able to leave with the gun in the first place to do this. So again, I point the blame at the hospital if we're to lean into, okay, mental disorder. So, I mean, I guess they're going to charge him, but I wonder how this is actually going to play out, because again, he clearly has mental issues. So if he does get found guilty, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on something light. But, if you have a problem with that, that's Ontario. It's where you live. So I don't know if you guys could tell or not, but I'm sick. This isn't how my voice typically sounds, right? My daughter, she had a stuffy nose from Friday, and we just stayed on top of that, me and my wife. Like, if your kid has a runny nose and then you start to see mucus, if that if you don't tend to that, that ends up on the chest, which turns into a cough, which can turn into other things. And at the bare minimum, he or she just has a cough for like 3-5 days, depending on your kid's immune system. It could be longer than that. So I'll spare you the details of blowing a kid's nose, but yeah, and some parents rather, they use this I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a saline mix, and you kind of spray it in one nostril, and then everything just comes out the other one. It looks extremely uncomfortable, but it also looks very effective. Like, there's tons of videos where you can actually see this stuff, and I showed it to my kid, and I'm like, hey, look, because she hates Vicks, right? Because it burns, especially you put it around the nose, and that's what we were doing. And we were like, look, we could either do Vicks or we could do this. Now, if we do Vicks, it's going to take a couple hours depending on, how much mucus you have in you. But if we do this little saline thing, it just comes out instantly. And she chose the Vicks. So it did take some time, but she got better. Me, on the other hand, I got whatever she had. So that's why I sound the way I do. I have to tell you, I hate teenagers. And I know that sounds hypocritical, because at some level I should be able to understand teenagers or even just young adults. I'm talking very early 20s. I hate them all. And I know I once was that. So you would think I would have some level of understanding, if not that, at least some empathy, because I've been through it. So I want to be clear. I'm only speaking from my perspective, right? My lived experience. Most late teens, early 20s, they're arrogant. They act like their actions have zero consequence. If you are applying for a job, you give them a resume. They ask for references. They may or may not call your references. The better employers do, because they want the best people. They're going to vet them. But even after doing those things, all they got to do is just search your name online. Why wouldn't they do that? These people are in charge of hiring employees for the company they work for. If they want to keep their job, they have to hire the best people. Why wouldn't they search you? And if they find you online doing something that doesn't align with their company's, I guess, moral code, well, guess who's not getting that job? And look, again, being a young adult, sometimes we make decisions that aren't the best for us. And if you choose to document it online, because that's just what people do, it's a thing for some reason, make your social media private. This way, they can't see the foolishness you do. And just to stay on this internet thing here, some people might blame the parents, especially older people. I can't believe you're letting your kid do this. Like, they just don't understand. And one thing that you have to keep in mind is when you were a parent and I was growing up, the internet wasn't around. It's difficult to compete with the internet because it's everywhere. Back in the day, as a parent, I would assume you just had to really worry about your child's social circle. You are who you hang around with. I don't like that person. They're always getting into like that immediate circle. You can see this person. In most cases, you knew who that kid's parents were. You could talk to them, but today, if you're a parent today, you are competing with the internet and the social pressures that come along with that. So it's a different ball game. I do think that parents can still bear some of the brunt of that blame, because as a parent, you can always do more, and sometimes you could do the most and your kid is still jacked up, but you can always do more. So whatever more is, you probably could always do that. But like I said, on the flip side, you can't really judge parents in today's day and age just because there's a lot more that they have to compete with. I feel for these kids, but I feel like you should be smarter than that, especially because you know how accessible your online social media presence can be. Like, you're aware of it. You use the tool all the time. In fact, I'm sure you know more about it than your parents. And why wouldn't you? So it's like, if you know all these things and you know how to hide your profile and whatever it is, security parameters that are available to you, why not implement them? Why not use them? I don't get it, And if it's showing my age, I'm 40, right? Let me just make it very clear for you. I don't get it. So case in point, 4 kids, including a 15-year-old, as well as 2 adults, have been charged with robbery following a smash and grab theft at a Markham jewelry store early Wednesday afternoon. So the 6 suspects were arrested shortly afternoon on December 4th after thieves used hammers to smash glass cases and steal merchandise from a jewelry store in the Markhamville Mall. This is what the York police say. And the police also added that there's another 6 suspects remaining outstanding. So, listen, I'm not a criminal mastermind. I've seen Ocean's 11 more than a couple of times, but that was a very intricate casino safe security that they had to bypass. They needed a lot of people on this job, and they needed the best people. Unless I'm counting wrong, I'm up to 12 people. 6 suspects were arrested shortly, and then the police added another 6 suspects remaining outstanding. You needed 12 people to do this job? Someone's getting caught, especially if there's no finesse and obviously hammers to smash glass cases. So I don't know who was the head of this thing, but, bad call on that one, in my opinion, which I shouldn't have one because I'm not a criminal. But I digress. As officers were close to arriving at the scene, they received reports that a white Honda Civic, believed to be one of the suspects' vehicles, rear-ended another vehicle at an intersection of McCowan Road and Highway 7. Again, you probably didn't hire the right people. Your getaway driver should obviously be comfortable behind the wheel in an emergency where there's a lot riding on it. He or she signed up for this. They crash. And of course it was going to be, high intensity. It's a smash and grab. People are running. Go, 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 go. Crash the car? Multiple occupants fled from the vehicle and officers engaged in a brief foot pursuit, ending with the arrest of 4 suspects. 2 additional suspects were located hiding in the washroom at a nearby restaurant. They were trying to be creative. I get it. The occupants of the vehicle that was rear-ended sustained minor injuries and were transported to a local hospital as a precaution. Now, police said the Honda Civic was reported stolen November 10th in Toronto. So 4 boys, a 15-year-old, 2 16-year-olds, a 17-year-old, as well as 2 19-year-olds. So I'm assuming they were the brains of the operation, right? And so one of them was from Mississauga and the other one was from Toronto, the 2 19-year-olds. And they've been charged with robbery with an offensive weapon, disguised with intent and possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000. At the time of the arrest, the 2 16-year-old boys and the 15-year-old, plus one of the 19-year-old men, were out on release orders. So they were already in some shit. And they said, you know what? I like how this shit smells. Let's add some more. So all 4 of the youths are also from Toronto. Now, investigators are also seeking at least 6 additional male suspects, 4 of which police say were directly involved in the robbery. So the people that were actually doing the crime there, 4 of them are still running around. The other 2 were acting as getaway drivers. So at least they were smart enough to have an additional vehicle, that being a beige SUV. So this story to me, like, I don't know about you, but when I was reading this, I had all kinds of visuals in my head. And I seen the assailants all dressed up in clown costumes. And again, not a criminal mastermind. I've never planned a heist. But I just think that there were some missteps here. And I mean, you know, I'm sure there's some other aspiring criminals in the city that may be aware of this story, and I would only ask that you learn from their mistakes. You know, Tretch from Naughty by Nature has a song, and you guys might not be familiar with Naughty by Nature, but his song is "Do My Dirt All by My Lonely." I'll say it again. Do my dirt all by my lonely. And I think the reason for that is obvious. No loose ends. No one can snitch on me. No one can hold me up. If it's just me and I do what I'm supposed to do effectively, no one can tie me to this thing. 12 people. I mean, what was this all over? Like, what were you thinking you were going to get from this air quote heist? And how much could you have possibly received where it would have made sense splitting it amongst 12 people? 12 people. Like, how, like did they think they were going to get away with millions? Millions of, let's just say, for example, they got away with, well, we know that, you know, it was at least a crime over 5,000. It was crime over 5,000. So let's just say, let's be generous. Let's say they got away with $100,000 worth of stuff. And then they were going to sell it, and they got exactly that, $100,000. Between 12 people, that's less than $5,000 each. You were willing to risk it all over less than $5,000? I don't know if anyone who was involved in this crime, this caper, is listening to this podcast. I don't know if someone that they might know is listening to this podcast, and maybe they could share it with them. But you need to hear this. You are worth way more than you think you are. You're so young, and it's going to sound cliche, but you have your entire life ahead of you. Life is filled with challenges, its own personal and unique challenges. Yours, and I'm just assuming, is probably financial. And again, I'm assuming probably lack of parental guidance. But these things can all be temporary. Like, you don't need to compound the issue. Now you're including legal problems. You're taking time away from your life where you could develop and become a better person, have a better life for yourself. Maybe have children, make their lives better. But you're not giving yourself a chance if you just devalue yourself. Listen, crime is just not the way to go. And even if you are going to hustle, even if you are going to entertain crime, know your value. Risk versus rewards. I'm sure the risk you took was definitely not worth the reward in this circumstance. It just wasn't. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, none of this stuff ever does. But leave it in the comments, man. You guys are amazing. If you've stayed tapped into the video this long, hit that subscription button. Do me a favor. I mean, first Diddy, and then Jay-Z, and now Christopher Machad, age 42, from Clarington, who is being charged with voyeurism. So the 42-year-old male was arrested after peering into a teenage girl's bedroom window in Bowmanville. This happened Wednesday, November 27, 2024. Members of the East Division responded to a residential home in the area of Concession Street East and Trudeau Drive for a prowler call at approximately 6:35 p.m. So the suspect hoisted himself up to a window and knocked on it. See, that's the part. First of all, I don't understand any of this, but that part stands out to me. Why are you knocking on the window. This is not 16 Candles. Like, she's not expecting you. You're not her boyfriend who she's sneaking into her room unbeknownst to her parents. You're a sick, perverted man. Why are you knocking on the window? You're going to get bit. So he knocked on the window. The suspect fled the scene. At least he had enough sense to do that. So further investigation and review of the video footage. Because it's 2024, why isn't there video footage? It's everywhere. Believe me, you're on tape right now. You just don't know it. So video footage led the officers to the suspect on Thursday, November 28th. So officers arrested the suspect at his residence without incident. Believe it or not, he's actually been released on an undertaking. I'm not going to get into that, but that to me just blows my mind. So, you know, if you're a parent and you hear a blood-curdling scream coming from your teenage daughter's bedroom, because we know she screamed, what are you doing in that situation? See, my mind, the smart thing tells me, call the police. But then the father, the protector in me, I would really have to fight that response because I'm going to want to kill this person. Like, maybe that's a stretch, but I'm definitely going to want to beat the shit out of them. Right? And then what happens? I get arrested and this guy, he's out on an undertaking. Every single time I report on a story like this, it always ends, he was released on an undertaking. Anyone with information about this incident, it's, what do you mean? You had him. There's video evidence. Lock him up. Like, I don't understand if there's any police officers, anybody in law that is familiar with this. Could you explain to me? Or maybe even share some possibilities. I'll even go for that. Just possibilities. Doesn't have to be anything definitive as to why he was released on an undertaking. Because my mind is baffled. Because we know, as a parent, if you were to bust that ass, you would not be released on an undertaking. Or maybe you would. Again, I'm not a legal mind. So leave that in the comments. And what do you guys think about the Jay-Z situation? I mean, I have to ask, like, what do you guys actually think about the Jay situation? Do you think he did that? I personally don't think he did. I'm not trying to say that he is squeaky clean. I'm not trying to say he's done everything above board. But this specific situation, somebody holding down a 13-year-old, other men in the room, I just don't see him doing that. I would think, and again, I'm not saying he's completely innocent. I just want to make that clear. But this situation, I don't see him being this sloppy. Like I mentioned it earlier, that Tretch song, Do My Dirt All By My Lonely. I think if Jay-Z has ever done anything like this, it's not in a room with other guys and witnesses. You know? Like, I just don't see it. But, you know, they can't take him to court for this legally. So I think they're trying to, you know, attack him civilly. And who knows how that's going to play out. And a lot of people are trying to tie him with Diddy. Oh, you know, they're friends. They hang out with each other, like-minded people. Of course, Jay-Z did it. If Diddy did it, Jay-Z did it. But that's not the case. Just because, listen, first of all, you don't know these people personally. You don't know their relationship. Just because they're in pictures together doesn't mean they hang out all the time. Doesn't mean they have, you know, keys to each other's, homes. Like, hey, Sean, I'm going on vacation, man. Do you mind just stopping by and just, you know, feeding the cats? Like, who says they have to have a relationship like that just because they're in pictures together? Think about all the pictures with people you take. And then after you analyze that, think about how close you are to all these people. Right? So just because they've been in the same circles, that doesn't mean that they run through the mud together. And I get it. people enjoy watching the mighty fall. They do. They like to root for you. They like to build you up. But then once you're up, they want to tear you down just so they can. Come on, man. This is the oldest story in the book. And again, if Jay-Z did do this, then F him. Throw him under the jail. Him and Diddy should share a cell. Hell, they should share more than that. One soap, one bath towel, one mattress. You get where I'm going. But I don't think he did this. And don't bring up Aaliyah. Please. Don't bring up how early he met Beyonce. Come on. Right? Don't do that. Again, just because he's around, they're all in the music industry. You're going to be around these people. You're going to be in photos with these people, at parties with these people. So you can't just say that, right? Or maybe I'm wrong. Don't think I am. Hope I'm wrong. I mean, he was one of those guys. Like if you follow hip hop and you're really tapped in, Jay-Z kind of did it all. Let's hope he didn't do it all. But again, leave it in the comments, man. Thank you guys for staying tapped in. Deuces.